and welcome to your messages for this week and for the month ahead. So your messages for October 2023. So, wow, end of the summer and coming into autumn and some powerful energies in October. We have eclipses, which are also very powerful. If you haven't already seen the messages for the month of September, I'll put a link in the description video in the end screen. It was all about the importance of being who we truly are. I think it's important to have a look at that because that's the energy that we're bringing into this month. And it's very much about being who your soul wants you to be. And making sure that you're not getting it confused with what your human wants you to be, because of course we are so programmed. Our humans might be looking at life from their pain body or from their programming, from their parents, society, school, what have you. So it's very important to make sure that it's what is opening your heart. It's what's making your heart expand. It's what's making you making your heart sing. I want to say, do the thing that makes your heart sing. So yeah, it was looking at being who you really are, and we looked at different ways of realizing ourselves, including the soul profiles, the birth chart, the astrology, the gene keys, human design, loads of other ways of helping us on our path. I want to include yoga in that, of course. But yes, and talking of astrology, this week, on the 28th it was, I had a chat. It wasn't really an interview, it was more of a chat with the lovely Liz Nagel, who you know from my section called Self-Mastery with Liz Nagel. So if you don't know her, check that out. But also we were chatting, Liz and I were chatting to Amy Bird, who is our friend and astrologer. And we were talking all about the full moon, which happened yesterday on the 29th. And it was also, we were talking about the nodes. This is the bit that I find most fascinating, is the north and south nodes. On your natal chart, first of all, is a massive indication as to where your soul wants you to go in this lifetime. So that's a really good way to find out more about yourself and what your soul has chosen for you to do, your soul's desires. But also we looked at the nodes, you know, in time, and how the energies of the positioning of the nodes are reflected in the collective, whether you are aware of it or not. And it was very interesting. I found it very interesting to look back with the lovely Amy and to see where the nodes were at certain times in the collective, and how the collective literally how those energies played out in the collective. And you can really see the power and importance of them. We touched briefly on the eclipses as well, but hopefully we're going to do another chat for the eclipses in October, because apparently they are super powerful and super interesting. And, you know, as a novice astrologer, then I would love to hear from the lovely Amy about that. So we have that to look forward to as well. But I will put a link in the description video in the end screen to the chat I had with her this week on the nodes and full moon and things like that. If you are new to my channel, welcome, lovely to have you here. If you're looking for free content, if you're just waking up to your spiritual nature and you're not quite sure where to start, what to do, where to go, and you're bamboozled by all the things going on, I suggest my Lessons in Awakening, which are on this YouTube channel. You just have a scroll down and have a look for Lessons in Awakening, little 20-minute bite-sized chunks to get you into understanding yourself as a multidimensional being, understanding the importance of emotions, thoughts, how you can master your emotions, master your thoughts. And we look at things like the power of willingness. We look at things like self-love, power of words, understanding your triggers, path to forgiveness, all sorts of things. How to detach from your thoughts. There's lots of free content there. So check that out. And if you are looking for free content, please also check out my first book, which is called Heal Yourself to Happiness. It's an introduction to energy healing and how you can apply some basic energy healing techniques to your life right here, right now, to help you raise your frequency. and change your reality and to heal yourself, to happiness, because that's what it's called. Because that book in the PDF version is free to download from my website at deborahjamesarmsworth.com. Okay, and if you are a little bit further on in your journey and you want to have a little bit of a deep dive into the past lives and creativity and other things about healing your soul, my second book, Heal Your Soul, is available from Amazon, link in the description. So I think that's enough now for admin. Let's have a look and see what messages are coming through. Thank you. For October 2023. Wow. So take a deep breath and activate your own intuition, because that's what's carrying you through life, right? Put your focus on your heart, relax your body, take a deep breath down to the belly. Put your attention on your heart. If it resonates, it's a message for you. If it doesn't, it isn't. It's very simple, isn't it? But also activate, oh, they wanted to come out, didn't they? Activate your own intuition, because whatever messages come through, it's your intuition that's going to help you apply it to your life and your situation, and to personalize it. It's your intuition that's going to personalize any messages coming through. 4 have come out, they're face down. I don't know what they are. So should we dive straight in? Wow. What a one to start with. Look at this. The Death card. Don't be afraid of it. I mean, if you're watching this video, you know not to be afraid of the Death card. It has the greatest capacity for change. And the astrologers are telling us that October is a powerful, powerful, intense month. So I'm not surprised to see this one. Please remember that horses are positive movement forward, and we have a dawn in the background. It's the dawn of a new age. It's the positive movement forward. You know, we can't stay where we are. If we stay where we are, it's like water that's stagnant. It will go bad. Energy wants to move. You are energy. We need to keep evolving. We need to keep changing. And sometimes those changes feel good, and sometimes those changes don't feel so good. But even so, something inside of us, we have an inner knowing that we need to make those changes. But sometimes it can feel uncomfortable. Sometimes it can feel refreshing, right? And some of the changes are massive, and some of the changes are not so massive. And it doesn't matter, but it is important that we are moving forward. One of the things that came up last week was this whole idea of, saying goodbye to the parts of you that you think you are, and allowing all of who you are to come in. Because what do they say? Don't believe everything you think. We create an identity around so much in our life. And maybe that identity served us at a certain level of consciousness. But the more you expand into more of who you are, and the more you raise your frequency and you expand into higher levels of consciousness, you're changing, you're growing, you're evolving. So there's parts of you that don't serve you. There's behaviors and ideas and thoughts and beliefs and people and activities and jobs and houses and towns and countries and all sorts of things that no longer serve you, because you've been there for whatever lessons your soul wanted you to have. And now it's time to move on. So we have to be very careful when we say, oh, that's not me, or, that's not something I like doing, because it may not have been, but maybe it's something you like doing now. I mean, we have to be open to all change. And that's why I think I started off by saying, just focus on your heart and focus on what's exciting your heart. And don't look for reason. Don't look for reason in why your heart wants to do something. Your heart's going to want to do something, and you're going to say, well, what's the point of that? It's too expensive, or I don't like that person. How often do we judge a person on the first impressions? But we were at a certain frequency then. We didn't resonate with them. You might meet them again now and get on like a house on fire. Often people don't like their partners, when they first meet them, and then they grow to be in alignment with them. So the death card here to me is about the death of the parts of us that we are kind of sticking to, that really we need to let go of. We need to be open to being someone a little bit different, because otherwise we're not evolving, right? This is also the death of the ego, of course. There's always a little bit of ego, isn't there, that gets released every time we have an aha moment, or every time we self-realize something. There's always a little bit of us that goes. And sometimes that ego can be really stubborn. Okay, can't it? It can be really, really stubborn, and we start fighting it. And then when you let it go, there's such a relief. So this is the death of something that needs to go. You know, it could be the death of a friendship. You know, I mean, for some people, it could be a physical death. People do die in the world, you know, so we're not ignoring on a physical level that it can be happening. And, you know, if you are going through a family death, then, you know, I'm sending you so much love. And, you know, we need to understand that when we understand that we're a spiritual nature, you know, we are spiritual and we're just, you know, inhabiting this physical body for this lifetime. Sometimes that does ease the grief, but of course you're still going to miss the physical body. I understand that, and I'm not belittling that in any way. But I think it's important to, actually, I want to recommend a book. It just came to me now. It's by a friend of mine called Byskov, and it's called Death is an Illusion. And when I read that book, it kind of really helped me understand the passing of loved ones. And anyway, I'm putting that out there. But usually this card is more about the death of a way of thinking, or the death of a way of being, or perceiving. And that's what happens, because when we expand into higher levels of consciousness, we're obviously moving out of certain levels of consciousness. So we're moving away from certain perceptions that we've had. And so it's like an egoic cleanse, isn't it? It's like an egoic cleanse. But as I said before, this card does have the greatest capacity for transformation. So those of you that are aware of all of this, and you're doing that inner work, and you're releasing what isn't serving you, and releasing those trapped emotions, those limiting beliefs, and you're raising your frequency. You're probably cleaning up your diet a bit. You're probably cleaning up your house, decluttering, you know, your friendship circle, your house, your diet, everything, you know, minimizing it all. Yeah, going forward with new intentions and new perceptions, new ideas, new ways of doing things, new ways of thinking. So yeah, what a card to start off with. Wow. Yes, and here we've got the Queen of Swords, and she's actually my let go card. She really has let go of a lot of things, and she's let go of the thoughts. So yes, definitely your homework this week is, I think it's number 15, but I don't always remember the numbers correctly, but it's how to detach from your thoughts. How to detach from your thoughts. Because swords is air, and they pertain to mental processes, thoughts, beliefs, ideas, opinions. And the crown has butterflies in it. There's a butterfly on her throne, because the butterfly, it symbolizes the change, the positive change that happens when you just let go of the way you're thinking. You know, and here you see everything was cloudy, but now she's risen above and she can see clearly now. It's about understanding that our suffering is always attached to a thought, and a thought can always be changed. What do they say? You know, something about pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional, something like that. Happy families, happy families. Focusing on the family, focusing on relationships as well. There's a lot of that going on in October. And it could be because you're being triggered in your relationships, but it's still about working with your families and enjoying your families. And it doesn't have to be blood families. It can be your tribe, shall we say. Cups is the water sign. It's the flowing sign. It's the emotions. The rays show spiritual guidance. And cups also symbolize spirituality, intuition, creativity. Being creative, having fun with your family and friends, so important. And this card also tends to come up after some struggles, after maybe some darkness. So there is something leaving. There is something leaving, whether it be on physical, emotional, mental level. And if there is some darkness attached to that, this is the happiness that comes from it. Very often you have to let energy go for new energy to come in. So I think that's why I was talking about cleansing your diet, decluttering your house, decluttering your friendship circles, I want to say. I don't normally say that. So just having a little cleanse, maybe on social media or something like that, just keeping what you need. And needing very little, that's come up before, hasn't it? Needing nothing attracts everything. Because if you really keep going, oh, I need this, I need this, I need this, what you're actually doing is focusing on lack. You're focusing on, I don't have this, I don't have this. You're focusing on your lack, aren't you? So be careful with when you think what you need. Oh, I need this, this, and this, because it doesn't always work like that. Just needing nothing. It's about loving everything, isn't it? Loving what is, because when you love what is, you don't need anything else. And when you don't need anything else, you attract everything. It comes into you. I know it's a bit of a paradox, but that's how it works, right? That's the law of attraction, isn't it? Let's have a look at the last card. We've got the Emperor. He's been coming up an awful lot lately in the private readings that I do. This is a very strong reading. We've got two major arcanas, two powerful ones. We've got a Queen, and then the 10 shows some kind of completion. The 10 of Cups is some kind of completion to happiness. Healing yourself to happiness. Download that book. So yeah, the Emperor it's a very masculine energy. He's an authority figure, but I think he refers to inner authority. It's like sovereignty. It's like understanding that you are sovereign over yourself, nobody else. There's only you creating your reality. Nobody else is. They are reflecting back to you parts of you. So if they're triggering you, please take it on board that that's your emotion. And you need to take responsibility for that, and you can process it. And there are many, many ways that we can process emotions. Obviously, my favorite one is the emotion code, and get in touch if you want help with that. But there are many ways we can process emotions, but it is about taking responsibility. If you're feeling it, it's your emotion. We are creating a virtual reality for ourselves. We've got like a virtual reality headset on, and there's only us creating that reality that we're looking at. Nobody else. We are creating it, and everything in it is a reflection, is a vibrational match to your frequency. And you don't have just the one frequency. You might have an overriding frequency of love or something like that, but we have 70 trillion cells. So there's going to be trapped emotions of jealousy, anger, guilt, shame, grief, all of these things, rejection in the cells of our body. And it might be a tiny little bit, and it could be inherited, it could be from past lives, it could be, from the collective, because we are the whole universe in one human being. So if you want to say, oh, it's not mine, I inherited it, it's not mine, it's from a past life that you've brought into this life, it's still your responsibility to process it. If you're feeling it within the cells of your human body, then it's your responsibility to process it. Because if you don't process it, it's going to make your human body sick. So take responsibility for being the whole universe in one human being. Okay, for anyone that hasn't heard the quote from Rumi about you're not just a drop in the ocean, you are the whole ocean in one drop. You are not just a human being in the universe, you're the whole universe in one human being. So whenever you are dissing somebody else or, pushing somebody else away, if it's triggering you, then you need to have a look. What is it triggering inside of you? And then you need to process it. If it's not triggering you and you're just deciding, I don't want to be with that. That's different. That's what we've just been talking about, decluttering our friendship circle, decluttering our social media, decluttering our documents on the devices, but just decluttering in general, decluttering our own body, you know, from what we put into it. But there is this kind of cleansing going on. But if you're doing it objectively, you know, without being triggered, then that's just like a smart move, really, isn't it? But if you're triggered, this is the difference. Then that person is there to show you a part of you. If you're not triggered and you're just observing, there is a group of friends behaving in a certain way, and I'm not resonating with it. Okay, I'm going to go and find people that I do resonate with. That's just discernment, isn't it? That's just common sense. But if you're actually judging them, if you're looking at people and judging them, and they're making you annoyed and angry and wound up or whatever, even if it's just slightly peeved, they're holding a mirror up. We have to take responsibility for the emotions that come up. And also, with all this astrological stuff going on, then emotions do come up. I mean, like, we're in the energy of the full moon now, you know, at the beginning of October, and it brings up emotions. We don't need to like ask loads of questions. Just understand there's a great awakening going on, positive energy, high frequency energy is coming in. And when high frequency energy comes in, the low frequency energy leaves. So if you feel like having a cry, you're going to have a cry. And that's you processing a low frequency emotions. We don't need to go into details about it. We just need to love and be grateful for it. And then we can just observe this process with love and compassion for ourselves and a heart full of gratitude for it all. For it all, I want to say. That's what he's telling me, inner authority. But also this full moon that we are in the energy of is the Aries full moon, and the Emperor is Aries. And so there's quite a lot of Aries going on at the moment, because also the nodes at the moment are going from Libra to Aries. So Aries is quite topical, and the qualities of Aries, of course, is fire. It's a fire sign, so there is passion there, boldness, courage. And we talked about courage recently. That was a couple of weeks ago. Courage being the key to expansion. And so, yes, Aries is they're the pioneers. It's the first of the zodiac signs. So they are the pioneers. They're the ones that forge ahead. They are the ones that typically get angry. They are very good at expressing anger. So we can learn to do that in a very healthy way. That's a lesson for everybody, I think. But embodying the positive qualities of Aries. That's what I want to say. Embodying the positive qualities of Aries is where we're going ahead, because we're coming from the Libra, the South Node being in Libra, which is very passive and very calm, very balanced. It's got positive, you know, there's every planet, every zodiac sign, every tarot card, they all have flip sides and positive sides and what have you. So we're not looking at positive and negative, but just looking at the characteristics and the qualities. And how you can use them productively. I mean, you can let anger get the better of you, right? And it can be quite destructive, agreed? But anger used correctly can actually be very informative and can help create change, you know, if it's done in a conscious way, shall we say. So the qualities of Aries, you know, we want to embody the positive qualities of Aries. So that is about following your passions, being bold, being fiery, being a fire sign, of course, being a pioneer. And yes, I just want to say it's about speaking your truth, inner authority, taking responsibility for yourself. If you say other people have made me feel like this, or I took on energy from someone else, you're putting yourself in victim mode, aren't you? Straight away, you're putting yourself in victim mode. It's almost like you have no control over your own life, and yet you are the creator of your own life. So if you have no control, what's happening? You're not realizing that you are the creator of your own reality. You have to realize these things. That's what self-realization is all about. We need to realize that we are the creators in order to be able to put that level of consciousness onto our creations. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Because if you don't realize that you're the creator, you really are putting yourself in victim mode, and that doesn't help anybody, does it? So yes, you are an amazing being, doing an amazing job, and you are creating everything. And don't be in denial. We need to not be in denial about the stuff that we've created that isn't so good, right? Because if you stop judging yourself, it doesn't matter. It's like, oh, okay, I created this. I'm going to create something better now without judging. I'm not going to judge that. I'm not going to judge myself, and I'm not going to judge anyone else. You know, there's other people that are creating negative things around me, but I'm not going to judge them. I'm not going to judge myself. I'm just going to create my own reality. I'm just focus on your reality. You don't need to focus on other people's, because we create our own suffering when we think we know the best path for another. And we create our own suffering when we try and change another one's path, or we try and tell another person what to do on their path. But everybody is being so unique. And we are an expression of the whole. We are an expression of source. And basically, you're going to find everything. So there isn't one way, one right way of doing anything. You know, whether it be diets or ways of thinking or political things or financial things, there is no one way. There's infinite timelines, and everybody has chosen their own path. And you only need to look after your path. You only need to look after your path and process any emotions that come up. Sorry. Maybe that's a message for me. So take responsibility for what's coming up in your life, dealing with it the best way you can, with the tools that you have and the love that you have in your heart for yourself first. Please love yourself first. Love yourself first, because it will change everything. It will change everything. The more you love yourself, the more the people outside will hold up that mirror of love to you, because that's all anybody is. Anybody outside of you is holding up a mirror. If they're triggering you, they're holding up a mirror to something that you don't quite like in the cells of your body. Get out of denial, process it, okay? And if they are reflecting back your self-love, they'll hold up a mirror and they'll be loving you. They'll be loving you. And the more you love yourself, the more mirror holders will be loving you. The mirror holders are just, they are like actors that are waiting for direction from the frequency in your cells. They are getting their direction, right, in the film from the frequency of your cells. So if you have emotions with a low frequency, they will play a part to show you that. And if you have emotions of a high frequency of joy, peace, love, they will have actions and they will reflect that. They will be a vibrational match to you. Do you see what I'm getting at? Either way, whether they're triggering you or loving you, we have to love the mirror holders. Love the mirror holders. That's what I want to say. Love the mirror holders. Because they're doing it for you. They're doing it for you to help you on your path, because in your reality, there is only you. I hope that makes sense. I love you. I love you. I love you. Have a fantastic October, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.